Just excited to be around the players in the group again. Obviously, there's been some adversity and heartbreak around our program a little bit, but all we can do is keep going, and we have each other. And I think the players are doing a good job of pushing through and working hard this week. So, question.
Coach, on behalf of all of us, just wanted to say we're so sorry for what happened. We're about to throw the with Coach Clark's family and everyone part of the UCF football family. I know it's been a tough week. At what point could you even try to shift focus? Because obviously it's a big game, Big 12 opener this week. At what point could you even start thinking about we got to get ready for a football game?
Well, the best thing you can do is keep going. And I'm better when I'm working, but we're still going to get our work done, and we're still going to work hard. I just think the emotions of the last couple of weeks have worn people a little bit. That being said, the players have practiced really well and responded really well. The biggest thing is that heartbreak for Janelle and Braxton and Gianna, and I know Terry and the University of UCF are going to do everything they can for them and financially, which that says a lot about the type of people that work here and that are here. And all of us will be supportive in any way we can. From my standpoint, I just miss my friend. I wasn't around him as long as I've been around some other people, but he just had an energy and a spirit about him, and one of my favorite guys I've ever been around and coached with. So it's just a tough deal, but we got a football game to play too.
Scott, what's been your message to the players? I mean, you talked last week about the transparency involved through all this. How have you guys been there with family and faith and trying to keep everyone together through all this?
Yeah, I think, for those of us with faith, that's what we have to lean on. And we're not without hope because of that and comfort because of that. Shawn had faith, and so our faith means that we know he's in a better place. I think it puts football in perspective. One of my first messages to the team every year is, let's be great at football. Football's what we do. We love football. Football's not life. And I think every time something like this happens, it makes you realize, as fanatic as people get about winning and losing a game on Saturdays, it's trivial compared to real things in life. And I think if football's not the most important thing, and your faith is, and your family is, I think it makes you even better at football because it keeps it in perspective. And something like this is definitely helps to put things back in perspective.
Coach, we've seen you before here where you're able to rally the team around something, whether that was hurricane or back in 2017 to just moving on later on in the season. With all that experience, how did you rally in a situation like this as difficult as it might be?
Well, I think first of all, I didn't remember the name of the hurricane was Irma. I would have lost that trivia contest. That's nothing like this. I mean, that's just missing a game. That's not a big deal. This team is starting to develop a real love for each other, and they want to play for each other. I think they feel that way about the coaching staff, and Coach Clark was probably at the top of that list as far as his guys actually caring about and loving him, because he cared about them and loved them. And when you have that kind of bond, I think you end up fighting and playing for each other. And I feel like that's what our team did last week. I think they'll do it again this week.
Coach, along the same lines, just how did Shawn connect with his players? What kind of influence and impact do you think his legacy will have on them going forward?
Yeah, first of all, it's not just our players. It's every the outpouring of messages and affection for him that I've received speaks to how many people that he's come into contact with and that care about him. Kids are smart, and they can tell if somebody actually cares about them and loves them and has their best interest at heart, or if they're just there to use them as a tool to win football games or move ahead. Shawn's compassion and passion for his players and love for his players was real, and they knew that. And that's why he fit in so well here. And he was a perfect example of the type of man that I want in our building.
Now, was there a moment, and it wasn't a good one, but a moment where you knew you had the right guy, just the coach, the right person to be good around the football team on your staff?
Yeah, when I interviewed him, it was obvious because who Shawn was. He didn't hide it. He was who he was, and his everything that was great about him shone through right away when I met him. Obviously, a really good football coach too, but like I said before, that's not as important as other things in life.
You said he's been one of your favorite people to be around. So what are some of those memories you've been able to have with him and create during the rounds?
When you work with somebody as many hours as we work, you start to develop real bonds. I mean, we spend a ton of time together. He always had a smile on his face. He and I had some private discussions because we both have been through some really hard things in this industry and this sport, and I think we kind of shared a common sense of how things are and how to approach things because of some difficulties that we've gone through. And he and I talked about those things a lot. He was great for me to bounce ideas off of as somebody else that sat in the head coach's seat. And, I just wish I had more time with him.
You mentioned players can rally together and you have to work it. Have you guys given them the resources to kind of process the feelings and kind of the suddenness of what happened in the hospital for a few weeks, for example, things turned from sudden? How the players kind of exercise the resources to process this?
Yeah, we have resources. Terry does a good job with that. We have resources available for guys that need it. But everybody kind of has to process it on their own. And, it's harder on the O-line than anyone else. And the coaches probably not even hold a candle to the family. But, all those things are available for the guys. And like I said, I'm the best when I'm working and have my mind occupied with other things. And I think football and playing for each other has given our guys that too.
On that same vein, you've been practicing the last couple of days. How has that been kind of get the mind off of it and to get to football? And same thing with the players to kind of get their mind off of this kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Game planning was therapeutic for me. Hard to concentrate at times. Tuesday practice wasn't our best. I think it's just the emotion of everything drains you a little bit. Today's practice was really good, and you can feel the guys coming together and wanting to play for him and for each other. And we got a big test on Saturday, and we gotta be ready to give it everything we got.
Can you speak to what Coach Bear has been able to do to try to keep the guys together? Obviously, it's really tough on him. He might have been closest to Coach Clark than anyone, and how he's been going in. Is there maybe some help you were going to be able to find this season to kind of help the O-line as well?
Yeah, first of all, Alex has done a great job. He's been around Shawn enough that they speak the exact same language and we coach the exact same way. Players love him too, so he's going to do a good job stepping up for us. We kind of looked for some relief pitchers to come in and help us. You kind of need more than one guy working with the offensive line just for numbers. And Danny Hope ended up coming in. Coach Hope was head coach at Purdue, worked with Shawn for 10 years. And he was over in Cocoa Beach, so it was easy. And it was a good fit since they were so close friends. And I think approached things a very similar way.
Along those lines, Scott, what was that? You mentioned Danny, but being close to Shawn as well, how much does that maybe help this? There's no way to ease the transition, I guess, what you guys are going through right now. Is bringing someone that he was familiar with and maybe had the same kind of philosophies. How does that kind of do that transition?
Yeah, it's like I think that helps a little. The age differential isn't enough, but it feels like Danny's the grandpa and Shawn was the dad and Alex is the son. And there's not enough years in there to make that work, but it kind of feels like they're all coming from the same place.
You feel like players are in a place where they want to play for Shawn his memory?
For sure. I definitely do. And again, that's just football, but our offensive guys and offensive line in particular spend a lot more time with him than some of the defensive guys, but I know it's affected everybody on the team.
Coach, I remember you talked about how you want the team to be player-led. With what you've observed, what have been some of the things you've seen the players do as they process this together?
Yeah, that's starting to take shape in practice and everything. If it's not going well, our players are making us run plays over again and speaking up if the energy is not good enough. And it's not all player driven yet, but it's in a pretty good place. And I don't know the conversations that are happening in the locker room, but I'm very confident that the right things are being said.
Scott, I'm sure there's some sort of plan to honor Coach Clark, whether before the game on Saturday or when you guys come back, if you get some sort of big tribute.
Yeah, it seems so trivial. We're going to put a sticker on our helmet with his initials, and you just wish there was something more than you can do, and you can. I think the best thing we can do is cherish the time that we had with him and try to fight on.
Couple more. Kind of hate to change the subject here, but obviously big game with Kansas State. I know you've got connections to Coach Kleiman. You can kind of speak on how you guys, that was kind of your first coaching game, right? When you were in Northern Iowa coaching on defense. Just what do you remember about Coach Kleiman from those days and just maybe your overall impressions of Kansas State?
It's my second coaching gig was with Coach Kleiman. My first was at Kansas State. I was a graduate assistant there, I think 06. I loved my time in Manhattan. Really good fan base. Being from the Midwest, it was a fun place for me to live and fit me well. Left there to go to Northern Iowa and worked with Coach Kleiman on the defensive staff. And, just a ton of respect for him. We were friends, still are. He's done a great job with that program. And, they've been really close to winning every game they've played. And I know coming off a bye week, they're going to have smoke coming out of their ears. Our kids know that too, and I think they will as well.
You're going on the road for the first time this season as the Big 12 opener, and how does that kind of galvanize the team when you're all together on the road against a hostile environment?
Yeah, to this point, every challenge we put in front of the kids, they've done a pretty good job with it. This is a whole new challenge. Fighting through emotions of the week, going on the road, playing in front of an opponent's crowd. Some new challenges that a lot of the guys, frankly, haven't faced yet. So we're trying to prepare them as well as we can, and it's going to be a tough test, and we got to try to give ourselves a good chance.
K-State started the year in Maryland, and I know a few years ago we did that with Nebraska. I'm just kind of theory that there's a little bit of a hangover or difficulty getting back to things, moving it back stateside. What was kind of your experience with that? And, is it as difficult from a logistical standpoint as maybe expected?
Yeah, that's probably just coincidence. Now, you put a lot into that game when you go over there, and I think if you win it, it can catapult you, and if you're not careful, losing it can kind of set you back a little, but temporarily. They had a bye week. They've had a chance to kind of talk about things and resettle things, I'm sure. So we're going to get a good version of them, and we got to give them the best version of us that we can.
All right, thanks, John. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Report here is next.